Welcome back to another evening of Scotch Hour. I am Noah.
And I'm Jesse.
All right, this is episode 104.
That's right.
We have officially hit 2 years. Woohoo! All right, before we do jump into everything, please like, share, and subscribe. For those of you who recently subscribed to us on YouTube, we greatly appreciate that. I think we just got 3 new subscribers. Was it 3?
3.
Okay, great. All right, I had the right number. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're a long ways off from there right now, but yeah, ask your friends just to to subscribe to us. They don't have to listen to us, but if they don't, they might listen to this. They might miss out on things like midget on midget porn and how hard that is to find, or I don't know, something crazy that Jesse might say.
I mean, it doesn't get any harder to find.
All right, with that, for this evening, we're going to be reviewing the Lagavulin 2022 Distillers Edition. From there, we'll have our shout-outs and get-it-togethers. And then we went to Prost Brewery for our restaurant review. And then we're going to do our Smarter Challenges, being the Cocaine Bear.
Scotch Reviewed.
If you've been watching the show, you know we have done several episodes with Lagavulin in it. Not as many as Ardbeg or the Macallan or Oban, but several episodes with Lagavulin in it. And this one is the 2022 release, the Distillers edition. So there's a lot of exciting things coming from the future taste we're going to enjoy here momentarily. But a couple complaints have arisen as well. So in the past, if you picked up a bottle, even the 2021 of the Distillers edition, they told you, much like Oban and others, what batch it was, the year and the age, all right on both the packaging of the box and also the bottle. They no longer do that. And it's really got a lot of people upset. Myself, I kind of agree. I actually like knowing on that bottle what year it was bottled, what year or when, how long it was distilled. The batch number is fantastic. Some of those pieces, the little extras really add up. So we're going to hope it tastes just as good and they're not pulling a quick one over our eyes. Couple of things about it. 43% ABV. Reportedly double matured, first in normal casks and then a second time in ex Pedro Ximénez sherry casks that have been recharred and seasoned. So this could be pretty interesting. The Lagavulin distillery is located on that southern part of the island of Islay off of Scotland, and it is nestled right in between Laphroaig and Ardbeg. Founded in 1816, big deals. The water source is the Solemn Locks, and it's currently managed by Jordan Paisley. Their output from its 2 wash and 2 spirit stills is 1.4 million liters annually.
Mention the tours again.
Yeah.
All right, they have a classic tour. It's a guided tour where you'll get to try 3 drams from Tudor tasting, and then it also includes a distillery exclusive bottling. Then we got the tasting experience that's where you're going to try 4 different drams, and then you also get the special distillery exclusive bottling as well. But the cream of the crop here is really the warehouse experience. This is where you join Ian MacArthur, the warehouse man. I guess he's a Lagavulin legend. And he tells you a bunch of stories, and you actually do a fantastic cask tasting with him. And that's the one that most people seem to rave about.
Undoubtedly, it sounds fantastic. With our tasting so far, we've tasted the 8-year, the 9-year for the Game of Thrones release, the 12-year cask strength 2021, and the Offerman. I mean, I gotta say, out of all those so far, I think the Offerman, the 2022 Offerman release, has been my favorite.
We have done the 16. I find that hard to believe.
We're waiting for that golden day.
Okay.
All right, we'll jump right into it.
Yeah.
All right, remember again, 43% ABV. The box is nicely done, very similar to years previous. The one biggest difference is this red stripe. If you're just looking for a quick look, the other difference, if you're looking for that detailed look, is it no longer tells you what lot that bottle is from, so what batch it is inside the box. Nice little coloring detail. It is a great green color. The bottle itself, again, if I didn't know I was looking for a lot number or a batch number, the bottle is fantastic. I love the dark glass. I love the green label. I love the silver Lagavulin symbol right on the front of the bottle. Pretty fun little bottle.
Is the symbol sticker too?
The symbol is like, it's on there. It's metal. It's not scraping off. So it is pretty meticulous. They're still doing a nice job with the bottle. They have the 1816, the year it was founded, Isla, so the island it is from. It's a well done bottle.
And what's the red stripe on the bottom say?
Double matured in Pedro Ximenez seasoned American oak casks.
Okay.
We're going to break this foil open.
Time to break the seal?
That's right. Time to break the seal. Happy walrus time. So with that, same green foil as on the 16 year, well pressed in there, solid wood topper. Man, but it's still not, like give us the little bit of etching or something in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's got a good nose right off the bat.
All right. All right, I guess it's time for our warp speed and our tasting notes.
It's time.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Lagavulin Distillers Edition 2022. It does not disappoint. At least not in my book, it doesn't disappoint. I love it. With the presentation, I think it looks great. I love the bottle. I like how the label itself is a little bit like off green. It's not quite the off like I don't know, like a cream color label. Like I think the 16 is.
Yep.
So I do like this like lighter green on there, and it does help make the red pop out a little bit. So that's kind of nice. For the color of this Distillers Edition, I put it here as a nice medium to dark copper with some like amber tones to it, which I really enjoy. I like that darker color, and I don't think there's any color added on this one here. It doesn't taste that way anyways. Everything that you would expect from a nice, good charred oak cask. I think you're pulling those characteristics out of here. On the nose or the aroma, I'm getting like sweet raisin with brine, some peat, hints of smoke, and I put honey oak because I like that. Because like you do get some oakiness, but it seems like there's like a little bit of honey that goes along with that oak. So I put honey oak along with some malt, which makes like for a really nice, complex aroma. It's very inviting, and it's something that you want to, it's something that you want to dive into. It's something that you want to taste. It's so inviting and has like that really nice, sweet and salty and smoky like nose to it that just like says, drink me, come and drink me. And I'm like, yes, I will drink you. And when I do, when it hits the palate, the first thing I kind of notice, it has like a little bit of oiliness to it. But right there, that's like the very tip of the of my palate, but then it goes right into like sweet raisins with some espresso and malt, followed up with some brine and spice. Like you do get like that brininess there, hints of that from like it being right there off Isla and stuff like that. But you also get some of that nice like spice too, and it's not overly spicy, as we know. Like I don't like that chili pepper spice or anything in my kind of scotches, but this doesn't have that really like that kind of spice to it. There is like there is a nice spice to it, and that kind of leads into the finish where I put here dark smoky oak with hints of peat and spice that kind of linger and go all the way through. And I really enjoy this. I think I love the nice finish to it. The palate is from the front to the mid to the back palate, it's nice and inviting. There's great flavors all the way throughout. It is in my opinion, it's more of like on the light bodied side. I would have expected it to be a little bit more to be more of a medium to a heavy body, but it's definitely, I found it to be a little bit light on my palate. And the one thing I mentioned, I think before in another tasting, was that when I come across like something that's like light bodied in my mouth, I want it to be kind of refreshing. And even though this has like a nice long finish of that dark smoky oak and hints of spice and peat, it is palate refreshing because it's not like doing something it's like overpowering. So if you're having like a cigar, it'll kind of like wash away that cigar flavor. Or if you're having maybe like, I think this might even go really great with it, but I think a nice great steak would go well with this, and I think it will help wash away the palate, or I guess accentuate the palate with it. Also, I think it would be great with like a vanilla flavor, like creme brulee or something like that. I think that'd be great. That has like maybe some sliced raspberries on top or something. I think it would go perfect with that as well. And because you'll get like the super extra sweetness from the creme brulee and the creaminess, but then you'll have like this coming by because it's not so like heavily creamy like some scotches could be. This one is a little bit, like I said, lighter, and it'll just kind of wash the palate away, like leaving some nice accented tones to go with that type of dessert or something, or even that kind of meal. So I do give this, I think it's definitely 2 thumbs up. If you come across it at the liquor store or wherever you buy your scotches, I definitely would recommend it. I gave it 5 for color because I do like the color. Presentation. I had to make some adjustments to my presentation score. Jesse made a great point last week that, like, for some like these like really specialty high end scotches, they have like some really eclectic and really awesome kind of like packaging, and that's kind of like what a level 5 should be. So this would have formerly been a 5 for me because I do like the classic look to it, but because of like he made a really good point, I am now that this type of classic really nice look is now going to be a 4 for me. And I'm saving the 5s for like the super nice packaging, like with the wooden boxes, or like that have some kind of like swivel to them, or whatever. Then the aroma, like I said, it's very inviting. It tells me drink me, and it's very complex. And I gave it a 27 out of 30. And then the palate, once again, I enjoyed the palate. It's something along what I enjoy. I gave that a 27 out of 30 as well. And the finish, it wasn't overly spicy like the last few that we've had. So I didn't mind the spice on this one. I thought actually the spice actually helped it as opposed to detracted from it. And here I gave it a 27 out of 30 as well. So my grand total is 90 points. And I like I said, I love it. I think it's great. And I think, if you do find it, you should buy it. And if you notice I'm not wearing my headphones now, it's because I had to match Jesse because he wasn't wearing his. So that's where we're at now.
I figured if it was going to be any more of the, conversations about searching for rare videos, I was just going to not hear it. And if you've watched the last episode, it really did take me that long into the tasting to figure out exactly what Noah was talking about. I was lost. All right. Well, for me, this is interesting because as our scores continue, there are some interesting pieces with our scores. I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to say I love the bottle, and it's hard not to give this bottle and this box a 5. But as we discussed, man, there are some of these presentations that absolutely go over the top, and our scoring may change more as we continue through, and we may come to find out that a $100 bottle of Scotch or $140 bottle of Scotch shouldn't have the same packaging as a $1,500 bottle of Scotch. But for now, that is one of those pieces. The color, though, I think you're absolutely right with this color. It is fantastic. It is, my initial thought is deep brass, but it's not that at all. It is that amber, that copper colored in there, even richer, sensual. I love the color. The color is fantastic. On the nose for me, as you mentioned, great introduction to this. Very welcoming. I get hints of charred or dark oak. And then you mentioned raisins, and I think that's absolutely it. But they're like that extra bit of sweet liqueur raisin, where it's like raisins soaked in sherry or sweet wine. And then on the nose, mild smoke, mild peat. Again, all these different flavors, scents, broad spectrum, very inviting. I agree. That was a great way to put it, Noah. The palate. For me, this palate, and it's interesting because I typically would expect a full body, like a heavy body with a Lagavulin of this age and this maturity, if you will, double matured, which is twice as much as I have. So with that, it's got a medium body to me. But man, with all of those flavors, and the brine does shine, it's almost like you can taste the granules of the briny salt water on your tongue when it first hits the front. And you mentioned that oily, it does coat the front of the palate beautifully. And then it goes into, for me, dark chocolate and a baked apple flavor. And I think that's where it kind of gives me that hint of the cinnamon or the clove, maybe a mild pepper, but also sugary sweet. So that briny salt water goes to that granulated sugar that crystallizes as you bake a fruit from that apples. And then as it starts to get close to the finish, hints of espresso and leather. And that's what I'm looking for, baby. I want that leather. I want the espresso. The interesting thing is the peat doesn't come in big. Either does the smoke until the actual finish for me. And I get this fairly long, not super long, but fairly long, smoky finish with brine. And I love that. And peat. And a hint of leather, but honestly, I would actually like a little more leather. I was expecting a bolder finish of leather and peat, more tarry, if you will. But instead of being that oak, I think I've come accustomed to knowing Lagavulin for, it's more of that sweet oak. And it's not a bad sweet. It's a great sweet. Just not quite 100% what I was expecting. It is absolutely, I agree with you, a great bottle of Scotch. Here's why I say our points keep getting more and more interesting. So for me, presentation, a solid 4. Color, absolutely. As far as the spectrum goes for me right now, and as you mentioned, as far as I can tell, no artificial colors added here. This is from the charred and seasoned casks. This color is fantastic. Color gets a 5 on the nose. We scored it exactly the same, 27, which I think is, I loved your word, inviting, because most people that I have talked to about a Lagavulin Scotch find it to be overly Band-Aid scent, very peaty. And this is not that. This is, and I like the peat, but this is very inviting, very more both complex and delicate. On the palate was the win for me. The middle of this body with all of those flavors, 28. The finish is actually my opportunity for this Lagavulin. It was down at a 26, but our scores balanced out at 90. I literally have the same score as you do on this one.
It was bound to happen.
But yeah, this one, honestly, it was going to be like, it was actually tough because the finish for me, I want more of that leather. I really want more of that peat and that leather. And that was the one thing that left me wanting with the Scotch. Otherwise, it probably would have gotten a 92.
Here's the thing. I had to think about this, and I probably, if I were to go back, as I mentioned before, I probably would have rated that Lagavulin 12, the 2022 special release. Probably would have rated it higher. And I think the reason why it got kind of low, first of all, it was my first time scoring. But secondly, I think I had a pre-existing idea of what a Lagavulin should taste like. And therefore, since it didn't meet that expectation, I think I actually punished it.
Became overly critical.
Yeah. I took it out on that particular one, which I don't think it was deservedly so.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that you were wrong.
Well, I don't know if I was right either. And so when doing this Distillers edition, I kind of wanted to come in and think about okay, don't have the expectation of what a Lagavulin 8 is, or don't have the expectation of what a Lagavulin 16 is. Take this one for what it is for itself. And I think that's why I came up with the 90 score on this one.
Yeah, I agree with your score. I mean, it's spot on. I am curious though now, thinking about these more recent fiery cask strength Lagavulin special releases, and this one having more of that spicy cask influence. I wonder if they're trying to go the direction that Ardbeg has on some of theirs.
Maybe, and that's a high possibility. But I do like the spicing that they used in this as opposed to what they used in the 12-year. This seems more like on that cinnamon, clovey side as opposed to chili pepper side, which obviously I do not like.
What are you drinking there? I don't know. Chili pepper fluid.
I don't know, but it's burning my throat. I can't handle it.
My eyes are watering. And I just considered something. And when I was talking about the Scotch, I didn't mention a couple of things. First of all, would I take this to a poker game? If the people who
I guess I've got to mention that too.
Dude, if the people who appreciate a good Scotch, and the more I drink, the more I am enjoying this, it is fantastic. 100%. Is it something I covet? It is something I actually really am enjoying. So it's something I want to have at home for that special occasion. Would I take it to a black tie event? And this is interesting because, man, hell yeah. I don't know that it's really like a black tie box, but the bottle, man, you bring this out, the silver Lagavulin crest, that you mentioned the green with the red pops. Absolutely. It's a win on all fronts there. And that's what makes it hard to only give it a 4 with presentation.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you made a solid call on that, and I had to go with it. And I do agree with you. Would I take it to poker night? Sure, but it have to be with people who would enjoy Scotch. Would I take it to a black tie affair? Definitely. Is it something I would covet? Yes, most definitely. It would really actually be really hard for me to take it to a poker night or even a black tie affair, because this is one where I would like to keep it for myself and enjoy it probably more so than share it with a bunch of others, but definitely with close friends or myself.
It's time for our shout outs.
My shout out is just to all the Americans that keep doing what they can to enjoy their quality of life. It's tough. I know a lot of people have gotten second jobs and cut some corners so that they can still, myself included, take their kiddos out for a bite and a movie and have some fun. So great job keeping the enjoyable piece of your life alive.
keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
Life's a garden. Dig it. If you know that movie, put it in the comments. All right. I have, I'm assuming that's both of yours, or that's the only one you have. Mm-hmm. All right. I have two of them.
Nice.
My first shout out goes to Jacqueline Breger. I think is how you say her last name. But she, on Friday, she appeared in front of the Arizona Senate and presented some information that her and a group of lawyers were investigating and passed some information on to the FBI and stuff like that. And it showed some corruption among elected officials by the cartel dealing with like real estate fraud. But because of those, because of that fraud or that happened with the real estate, it crossed like multiple states, and it showed up also in the 2020 elections and 2022 elections. And it also shows that Katie Hobbs, the current supposedly person who won the governor race, which many people believe didn't truly win the governor race, shows that she was a part of these so-called real estate scams or whatever, or the fraudulent real estate dealings. We don't know for sure. Like, I'm not sure. Like, I didn't see the actual paperwork or anything like that. So I'm going to say she allegedly is a part of it, but it seems like there's a fairly good indicator that she was. So that's my first shout out, is to that lady to have the guts and the, to come out and talk about it, because, like, I'm going to put this out there, right? Look at Hillary Clinton, or, the Clintons, right? And then they have like the so-called, the Arkansas stuff in the list of people who are supposedly connected to the Clintons and committed suicide, which seems to be an abnormal amount of people. So, it doesn't really seem like whistleblowers actually do too well when they come out and blow the whistle. So congratulations to her to doing that. Also, I want to give a shout out to Woody Harrelson. Apparently this past weekend on Saturday Night Live, he talked about how he got a script saying that all these major drug cartels got together, bought off the media, bought off the politicians, and wanted to implement a rule saying that nobody can leave their houses unless they took the drug cartels drugs on a scheduled basis. And apparently it didn't go over too well with SNL, but it seems like it hit really close to home and reality. So I just want to give him a shout out for that as well.
That's a good one. That's a tough one. Woody Harrelson's definitely got some big cojones right now with everything going on, but it's interesting that he used the phrase and the term, because immediately most people may be like, well, what is he talking about? Which foreign country's drug cartel is he talking about? And not everyone is understanding that he's talking about, I don't know, maybe Moderna or Pfizer being the drug cartel.
Well, funny you say that, because all of a sudden, like, on Sunday, it hit like all the major like newspapers and stuff saying like how they it's not about COVID or anything like that.
Yeah, it is. It's just, it's interesting because of the fact that they literally have created a new form of addiction, if you will, or necessity with a antivirus.
Exactly. Yeah. Any get-it-togethers?
Man, I'm gonna let this week go.
All right. Well, I will also do the same. I mean, I'm sure I could pick out something about our government or whatever, but I'm just gonna let it be for this week.
I mean, I guess, you know what? I'm gonna backtrack. I'm gonna have my one get together. Just
okay.
Man, Biden, be careful deploying hundreds of more troops to Taiwan when we're already on shaky ground with China, and they're learning a lot from what Russia is doing right now. So it's just interesting. We run out of another country that we're supporting, but then we're adding forces and troops into one that is absolutely will because of their society come across as an act of aggression. This week's restaurant, man, the Prost Biergarten in Highlands Ranch.
Prost.
It's funny because I always say Prost, and then I started saying Prost because my navigation system kept saying it. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's Prost. Damn it.
Prost auf uns.
All right. Well, what I would say is ever since I've seen this building constructed, I've wanted to go, and we finally went this week. We enjoyed our beverage, and they had a nice selection of beer, and mine was delicious. I had the Lost Colorado IPA, so not one of their own, but this is by the New Terrain Brewing Company here in Colorado, and I had the Biergarten board, so 3 of their best meats and 3 of their best cheeses, some pretzel bites and fondue. It was delicious. But it was something that I really think in the future I would only want to share. It was a lot of cheese. It was a lot of meat, $24, worth every penny. Didn't necessarily go great with my beer, but it was entertaining to say the least.
Yeah, so this place here, when you first pull up, it's a nice big building. You see it is like a beer garden. And it kind of reminds me, if you've ever been to the Hofbrauhaus in Las Vegas, it kind of has that kind of like setup, when you first walk in. Before you walk in, you see a nice, there's like a little gate that says Willkommen on a like kind of archway, but this is where it kind of gets weird for me because, like, seeing that, it just reminds me of Auschwitz, and it's like, Arbeitsmarkt frei, work will set you free. And here it's like beer will set you free, right? Sorry, I don't mean to, I guess I kind of went down the wrong road there. I probably shouldn't talk about the Holocaust too much, but in any case, when you go into this beer garden, they have 2 separate areas. One area is where you go and you purchase your beer, and the other area is where you go purchase your food, and then you have to put up 2 different tabs. So that's the one thing I didn't like about the place, is that you have to have a tab for your beer and then a tab for your food. And that ultimately made it seem like you have like 5 different receipts in your pocket for like a 1 meal deal. The beer that I had was the Dunkel. The Dunkel was actually very good. It's a nice, good German beer. It was nice, dark and malty, as you would expect from a Dunkel. I wanted to try another beer, but being that, it's kind of far from where we live, and you have to drive on the highway and stuff to get there and stuff. I really didn't want to drink like a whole, liter of beer. So I just went with the half liter of the Dunkel. But otherwise, I think next time when I go back there, I like to try their Oktoberfest, the Märzen. And I think that will probably have some great maltiness to it if it's anything like the Dunkel. As far as the food goes, I got the bratwurst, and I thought the bratwurst was great. It had bratwurst with sauerkraut, and then you got the nice spicy mustard that you put on there. And they gave you the choice of either having it on a bun or just on the plate. I chose to have it on the bun, which I enjoyed. The bread was pretty decent. It's not the same type of bread that you would get in Germany, like that Brötchen and that bread that you get in Germany, where that has like the nice hard outside, the nice like soft inside, is great. That's fantastic. I love that kind of bread. As the side though, it's supposed to come with coleslaw. I'm not a huge coleslaw fan, so I asked if I could get the potato salad. And being that it's a German place, I was really expecting the Kartoffelsalat, which is the warm-styled German potato salad. But that's not what I got. I got like the cold, normal, regular kind of potato salad. It was good. It was good, don't get me wrong, but it just wasn't that traditional vinegary, hot Kartoffelsalat, and that's what I think would have like really pushed it over the top. Would I take a first date there? I think I would. Would I meet friends there? Definitely would. as far as like the wait staff goes, the way it's set up, you don't really interact too much with the wait staff, but they do have one person or a couple people that come by and drop off the food, and they also like clean up the tables. But when we walked away to go get your second beer and me to close out my beer tab, there was a guy that came by and cleaned up our area and stuff like that, and I thanked him and everything. But the people where you go to purchase your beer or purchase the food, they're very friendly and nice. So I guess for the quasi wait staff or whatever the people you deal with, I'm gonna give them a 7. I would have made it like an 8 or maybe even a 9 if they actually like came to the tables and stuff like that. It was like more of a traditional type of like wait staff, but I think 7 is good for what you get there. The food, it was exactly what I kind of expected, minus the potato salad. I also got the apple strudel. I forgot about that,
dude.
The apple strudel was
waiting
great.
to hear about that.
The apple strudel was actually really great. They had some it came with a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and when I combined the apple strudel with the vanilla ice cream, it was so delicious. It had really great apple and cinnamon flavor and stuff like that. It was great. I love the dessert. So the food, I'm going to give it an 8. I really did enjoy the food, but I think you have to kind of like German food though, to really enjoy the place. If you don't really like German fare type of food, it may not score that high, but I really enjoyed it. And I think the 8 actually kind of goes with the beer though, in this case, because they brew their own beer. And I think if you're going to go to a German place, you have to have like good German food with good German beer, and I think they matched up together. That's why it gets an 8 there. So overall experience, I'm going to give it like a 7.5. It does have a whole lot more potential though, but I think they could kick it up a notch or two, like getting like that warm potato salad and some other little things there. But I loved it. I thought it was a great place.
Yeah, it's interesting that one of the comments you made was that would you meet friends there? Absolutely. And I find it true to what I was thinking, which was the same, which was, man, we got to go sometime and see a movie. I'd go with you Wednesday night. Guy's going to go see Creed 3's early release. I unfortunately cannot go see it. I am jealous of that one. But man, that would be a great movie to go see there where you could literally walk. I mean, it's a little bit of a walk. Otherwise you drive across 2 parking lots and you're at the movie theater, and that would be a fantastic place to meet friends, go see a movie, a big screening, something we should consider in the future, and just really enjoy the full experience, the drink, the food. So for me as well, would I meet friends there? Absolutely. And what is interesting is it's the more the merrier. It's not like, hey, I'm just want to meet 1 or 2 friends. You can do that, but you can also meet 10 friends there. And I feel like the setting is well done where you don't feel like you're leaving anyone out, and anyone who needs a break because you're like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't listen to Jesse and Noah talk about aliens anymore. I need a break. I'm going to go get a beer. They can just walk up and go get a beer or order the streusel or any number of things, a giant pretzel. And I really enjoyed that. Would I go, would I take a first date there, a date there? Absolutely. It's the same thing where it's that open forum where if someone needs a break, there's a way out. You can intentionally sit close to other people or share a table with them even, or you can find your distance. Good music playing, not too loud, not too quiet, but you mentioned the wait staff. And for me, the first thing is for the atmosphere. The atmosphere was a win. This isn't at all what I was expecting. Kind of like, to me though, a warmer version of Breckenridge Brewery. I actually enjoyed this more than the Breckenridge Brewery there in Highlands Ranch as far as the setup and the servers, the staff, and they actually did bring the food to your table. I was a little worried at first. I'm like, oh man, I just tipped these people and I'm gonna have to go get my food again. It's Bojo's 2.0. It was not. They did bring the food, as you mentioned. And when we went to go close our tabs, they cleared the table, and we were like, hey, we weren't going to be those guys, but thank you for clearing our plates. They were great. They were friendly. They were welcoming. It was a very welcoming environment, and it was a lot of fun. So yes, would I take a date there? Yes. Would I meet friend or friends there? Yes, absolutely. Serving staff for me, this is a middle range restaurant, so it's not cheap, it's not fast food, but it's not also high end. For their level of service, for really what was expected, I would say it was a 7. The one thing that would have given them an 8 or maybe even a 9 is if instead of saying, here's your food, you're going to need a fork, they're over there or over there, is I figured you'd need a fork. Here's a napkin and a fork, because that's literally the next level of service. That's how you go from, in my mind, a 7 to a 9. So a 7 there. I mentioned the atmosphere and the food, both 8s. Overall, I'm going to give it an 8. I really enjoyed it. And for me, getting out a little late tonight, this was one of the things Noah brought up. And thank you for bringing it up, because I've literally wanted to go there for years since it opened. And this was another one of those great experiences where we finally did. This week's Smarter Challenge. We've had a lot of this genre of movie lately. It is a comedy horror, the 2023 release of Cocaine Bear.
And I didn't even wear my Cocaine Bear hat tonight.
Oh, shit.
I did wear it to the movie theater.
Did
though.
you?
Yeah.
Nice. I've got some really bad news. What is it? Your wife is dead. High five! Oh, snap. Oh, maybe that should be a movie review for the NC-17 crowd.
Maybe.
All right. Well, as we go into Cocaine Bear, I think one of my favorite memories is my kids are finally at an age where I could go to see this movie with them, and I don't know, maybe they were just pulling my leg, but they said they enjoyed it. It was funny. It's absolutely ridiculous at points. I would say, spoiler, it's all the way through here very quickly. There is blood, there is gore. It's like the Evil Dead without the zombies. Or the Deadites. It is a bear hunting, killing machine on cocaine, and it does a good job. So one of my fond memories here is Noah was able to see the early release, and in doing so, when I went to go see with my kids, Noah made a comment.
Oh, you're gonna. Oh man, I was gonna say this.
You do it. You go there. You go there. No, because you're gonna tell it better.
All right. So I had already seen Cocaine Bear, and Jesse was telling me it was Saturday night. He's like, yeah, my kids and I were getting ready to go see Cocaine Bear. I'm like, okay, Jesse, this is your homework. You have to tell me what is your favorite death scene. And then his daughter Mia turns around to me and has like this expression like, what? You just spoiled the movie. I didn't know anybody's going to die. And I was like, huh? And she's like, well, of course people are going to die in the movie. It's a bear high on cocaine. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's kind of funny because I didn't really expect her to like bust my balls or anything like that. And so I thought that was pretty funny. I really enjoyed that. She felt comfortable enough to joke with me about that. It
was good. I appreciated hearing the story from Noah's perspective after the fact, because Mila, it is a shout out. You're growing up to be a great young person. So nice job.
Yeah, it's definitely a shout out. I when you can bust people's balls and have a good time and laugh about it, that's A+ in my book.
And that is the first thing with this movie. So lots of death scenes in this movie. And Noah's homework challenge for us was favorite death scene. So I'm going to say for us,
Did your kids pick out their favorite too?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I can't wait to hear these.
No, they were literally like, oh yeah, we got to talk about this on the way home from the theater.
Serious?
Yes. All right. But for us, for this show to start out with, what were your top 2 or top 3 death scenes in Cocaine Bear.
Okay, my number 1 death scene has to be the lady on. Are those like
Park Ranger?
Is the park ranger in the ambulance on the bed? Are those called gurneys?
I believe so.
Okay, so they're driving, the door's ripped off or whatever, and she just goes flying out of. She's all strapped into the gurney. She goes flying out, and the gurney flips over, and you see her face just go smashing across the road. And at the end of the movie, Carrie Russell and her daughter and her friend all walk by the lady in the gurney, and they're like, "Don't look at that." But that whole death scene is great though, because it's not only her going across the ground and having her face scraped and stuff like that, but the lady who's driving the ambulance slams into a tree or a post, and you see her fly through the windshield. So it's like a total great death scene. So that's got to be my number 1 death scene. I don't think there's really another really total like kick butt death scene. My second one, it's a little bit tougher for me to pick my second favorite death scene, but I guess if I had to choose one, it might be where the guy, and you see this in the advertisement anyways, is the guy who's like the animal specialist who climbs up the tree, and he like sneezes, and the bear smells the cocaine that's on him, runs up the tree, he goes and kills him, it rips off his leg, you see the leg go flying and stuff like that, and then the bear walks over and like takes a sniff of cocaine off it, like does like a line off the guy's leg. So that was like my second favorite.
All right. So, man, I had a lot of going back and forth with this, and because the 2 scenes you just mentioned are 2 of my 3 favorite scenes. And at first, man, I was right there 100% with you. The lady on the gurney falling face first, 50 miles per hour, skidding to a stop. That was a scene that was nonstop laughing. So that's in the top 3. The second one that's in my top 3, and I'll rate them here in just a moment, is when that same said person skidding to their death on their face shoots one of these punks on accident. I forgot about that one. Right? On accident, and you just see his face at one point, and then you just see a hole. You just literally see a hole. And my third one was the last one you mentioned. So for me, my third favorite scene, and part of this is like the effect, is when she falls out on her face on the gurney because the bear throws her out of the van, basically trying to get to the front of the van. And it's one of those things where this piece of the movie is happening. It's just funny. Like the whole thing is ridiculous. A bear running 50 miles per hour after a van who should have gotten away but made all the wrong choices. And this lady falls out. So that's number 3. Number 2 is the punk who gets his head, he has a new light to life, if you will. And part of the reason that that's number 2 is because I was literally sitting there, and as soon as this scene is unfolding, you have the park ranger, this nasty lady with a great big gun pointed at the door, and the bear's on the other side of the door. You know this, we know this, she knows this, the punk knows it, and she tells the punk to open the door. And the first thing that's like, man, just as soon as you open the door, it's going through everyone in the audience's head, I'm sure. Dude, as soon as you open the door, get out of the way. And instead, what does this guy do? He just stares there, and it's like, oh, damn, a bear. And she pulls the trigger and blows a hole in his head. And it's the one scene in the movie, it's probably one of 2 scenes in the movie where I was just like, oh shit, that just happened. because it's just that ridiculous. And it ultimately unfolds in this other piece of ridiculous, hilarious scene where somebody else throws him to block the door later on, and the paramedics are coming to get there. So his death leads to her death. But for me, the funniest one is the scene where we have a nature specialist, an animal specialist, going through the field, and he comes across a lady as he's walking with the park ranger, the lady being the mother, Carrie Russell, and they're looking for Carrie Russell's daughter, and he's this know-it-all, and he's just easygoing, kind of like Joe Dirt, right? Like easygoing, and all of a sudden...
But the park ranger's all hot and bothered.
Oh, yeah, the hot park ranger wants him. She is like, man, you are my Lagavulin 12 spice. And with that, she is frustrated that Carrie Russell interrupted her romantic nature walk with her animal specialist. And they're looking for the daughter, and all of a sudden they hear the daughter's friend, this boy, and he's like 25, 30 feet up in this tree. And everyone's just like, what are you doing up there? And he's like, that bear, watch out, there's a bear. And they're all like, ha, ha, ha. And the nature specialist's like, most bears are really friendly. Was he a black bear or was he a brown bear? If you have a black bear, you don't want to run. If you have a brown bear, you should leave, you know? And all of a sudden, the bear comes out of the woods, and you see the nature specialist start to climb the tree. And at this point, I think a lot of us are probably wondering the same thing I am, which is, well, bears can climb trees. Why is a nature specialist climbing a tree? And the nature specialist climbs the tree, and the boy's like, oh man, we're safe. And the nature specialist's like, no, we're not. Man, bears can climb trees. And then the boy's like, why the hell did you climb a tree? And he's like, I don't know. So this is where it kicks in the part where you're talking about, which is right before this, the nature specialist falls on this duffel bag of bricks of cocaine that have exploded out. He is fully covered in cocaine. He runs up this tree. The bear sees the boy, starts to go after the boy until he realizes there is a cocaine covered Twinkie in the tree next door. And poof, it is over after that.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
That's right. He is toast. It's ridiculous. So with my kids, and this was crazy to me because they were all like, yeah, I think my favorite death scene was when that lady just blows that guy's head open. Although when she was skidding on her face, that was pretty funny too. And I'm like, all right, there it is. Like, there it is. You know, if a teenager or two can appreciate that, it's funny. Because I don't know as much as that they thought it was funny as that I was right there a foot away from them, and I'm like, oh shit. I didn't start laughing. Normally, I didn't until I said, "Oh shit!" And I'm like, "She really did blow his brains out." Like, my God!
I thought for sure you would have been laughing like right away.
I was after that, but at first I was in shock. I'm like, they really did put that in the movie. Like, yeah, it's one of those things, right, where Stephen King and Alfred Hitchcock, masters of suspense. You know it's coming. It's like the old lady in Psycho with her knife. And you're in the shower, you know this is a bad time. It's going to happen, but then it actually happened. It's like, damn.
I was like, I was probably the loudest person laughing in that theater, and I probably laughed more than everybody else too.
I had a good crowd, lots of laughs. I was probably right there with you, but my kids were chuckling too, and that was heartwarming.
So this movie is actually based on a true life incident. There was a guy who was actually flying a plane, smuggling cocaine. The DEA was on his tail, and then he starts tossing out bags of cocaine over. I think it was, is it Kentucky or Georgia? I'm not really sure.
I think
Tennessee.
I think it covered 3 states, and I think those are the 3 states that he was flying.
So the guy then real life guy. Also, they show this guy's character in the movie too. When he jumped out of the plane, he had attached like 88 pounds of cocaine to him, which the parachute was not compensated for his weight and the cocaine, and he died on impact, which also happened in the movie.
The movie was a little bit different, and that was the other thing is I had to mention that my kids put that as their runner-up favorite death scene is when the guy, and there's the true version, which is the one you went into great detail with. In the the movie version, he gets so high on coke throwing the bags of cocaine out of the plane that when he goes to jump out of the plane, he hits his head on the frame of the door and knocks himself out and falls to his death.
and then the real life bear, which is known as Pablo Escobar. There's a really interesting story about him. So the bear ate 88 pounds of cocaine, had a cardiac arrest, and died within 5 minutes. So everything that happens in the movie didn't actually happen in real life because the bear died. But they did the autopsy of the bear. The state parks actually had a taxidermist come out and stuff them and all that stuff. And so they had it on display there at the national park. But then there was a fire that happened. No. And when the fire occurred in this national park, they put it all into storage. But then the storage place got robbed. The bear ended up somehow being in Las Vegas. And then some famous singer bought the bear.
What?
He bought the bear. The guy died and went to an estate auction, and some like Chinese laundromat or Chinese dentist guy bought the bear. That guy died. The wife hated the bear but kept it, and then the place
it's cursed.
The place Kentucky for Kentucky or whatever, which is some kind of like store or whatever. They now own Pablo Escobar, and then they sell like all those like the hats and the shirts and all that stuff.
All right, so it is still out and available to see.
It is,
dude. I think, and it's in Kentucky.
The real bear?
Yeah.
Yes.
I need a big trip to Kentucky.
Also, you know what they did too for this particular movie? For 3 nights, they did red carpet showings with Pablo Escobar.
That is awesome.
So they brought Pablo Escobar to 3 different movie theaters and did red carpet viewing. So you can take pictures of Pablo Escobar.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah. This movie here is the 4th full-length feature film that Elizabeth Banks had directed. And I think out of all the ones that I've seen that she has done, I think this is probably her best, in my opinion. Because the other one was like Charlie's Angels, which I never watched that one, but I heard like a lot of bad things about it. And then she did one of the Pitch Perfect movies, which I love all 3 of those movies. Those are funny movies. And I forget what the other one was. I don't know. Where else do you want to go with this movie?
Man, what are the life lessons learned out of this movie?
Well, I guess one, yeah, I don't know. Don't tell your friend to eat a
spoonful of cocaine.
Yeah. Have you ever done cocaine? Yeah. Well, how do you do it? Well, you eat like was it a teaspoon?
Yeah.
You eat a teaspoon of cocaine. And the girl puts that teaspoon, she grabs like a bunch of cocaine, puts it in her mouth. She's like, blah, 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 blah. She's like, you do it. And he's like, he finally does it. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. So he knows he was, she obviously had to know at that point that he was lying.
Okay. So with that,
how the fuck did they not talk about how like numb and shit their mouth would have gotten with the cocaine?
I mean, that's what the Egyptians used it for. If you've ever watched Ancient Aliens, was if they had a toothache or something, they put cocaine on it to numb the pain.
Like, they shouldn't have been talking afterwards. Their mouth should have been all.
Dude, they probably should have been near dead. They're like 60 pounds each. It's ridiculous. I mean, I'm literally, I review it and I'm like, okay, so life lessons from cocaine beer. Don't have a drug dealer father.
I guess.
Have a good friend that'll like try to help you straighten your life out. Like the little boy ditches school for his little female friend and almost dies.
How about the couple, the nature walking couple?
Oh my God, don't be a tool. That's the lesson there.
The guy who's like proposing to his wife or his girlfriend or whatever.
She dodged that bullet.
They both died.
Well, she did first.
Yeah.
So then this particular scene,
We're
also
so
a
lucky.
riot. Yeah, we're so lucky. He's like, hey,
There's something wrong with that bear.
there's something wrong with that bear. It's all like headbutting a tree. Boom, boom.
That was so funny because like he's seeing the bear, he's like, this bear is fucked. He like he's doing all this shit, like head banging and like freaking out. And then she goes and looks at him.
She's like, give me those binoculars, or give me the camera.
Yeah.
Give me the camera.
and the bear looks like it's all peaceful and loving.
Hugging the tree.
And then he takes it back and it's all like freaking out again. And then it pops up like 5 feet away from them or something.
So one of the funniest things about this experience to me is afterwards, my kids were literally telling me, yeah, if it's true, if you have a black bear, you just stand your ground. If you have a brown bear, you run. And if you have a white bear, you're just done. They're like, you're dead. They're like, they had this whole saying to go with it. And I'm like, how do you guys know this? And I'm like, you're right, because polar bears are by far the biggest bears and they're carnivores, but they're going over this whole thing. And I'm just like, oh, hell no.
I think one of the funniest parts, and I don't know if it's really funny as much as it might be cute, is like when the baby cubs are all like dosed in like cocaine and they almost look like little white polar bear cubs.
Oh my goodness.
I thought that was kind of funny.
The whole movie is just interesting. It really is, because you have this
How about
daughter,
the gangster kids?
dude.
And then what? The Ice Cube's son, I forget what his name is, just beats the crap out of him.
Oh yeah, he's like,
he sees the knife in his back.
he's like, what hurts, man? That hurts. They stabbed me.
This is my favorite jersey, man. Sorry, we're going all over the place here. I didn't mean that.
No, it's true. So the movie on my scale is definitely a 2 thumbs up. It is not meant for quality of life unless you are looking for a comedy horror film.
Yeah, if you ever, I would agree. It is a 2 thumbs up, and I would also put it as a fun movie if you want a comedy horror movie. And it's not quite as gruesome as like the original Evil Dead's, but it does have some really cool death scenes in it. If you enjoy like watching a horror movie that has like funny death scenes, it's more like funny death scenes. It's not like, or like more for shock value. Maybe.
Dude, one of the other scenes that was absolutely hilarious is when the paramedics do show up on the scene. And at first the guy's trying to push the door open. She's like, put your shoulder in it, put your back into it. And he's like, it's not that easy. And she's like, get out of the way, I'll do it. And she's like, can't move the door. And she's like, give me some help. And he's like, what happened to feminism?
And mind you, the reason why they couldn't open the door is because that's where the kid was like with the hole in his head.
We should go.
And then he's like, I thought you said he had a concussion. That's what she said.
Yeah, she called and said he had a concussion. Boom. Yeah. Or a percussion wound.
The one thing I thought was kind of like a blast from the past, if you will, seeing all the old 1980 don't do drug commercials. Just say no to drugs. You got a little bit of I think they showed the egg in the frying pan.
Yeah. This is your brain.
This is your brain on drugs. And then they had a Nancy Reagan commercial on there. There was like another one, wasn't there? I think there was like 3 or 4 of them that they showed.
They had several of them, but now looking back, it's like, no, none of that was true.
It's definitely a good movie. I would recommend seeing it. There's really not a whole lot more to talk about it, though.
It is just light-hearted, bloody comedy.
Yes, very much so.
But there were a few times I didn't jump, but I saw people throughout the audience throw up their arms and jump.
Serious?
Oh, yeah.
Oh. I think the cop also got the shit into the deal.
Oh, yeah, totally. That was total bummer, dude. Like,
he had that dog. I guess
that's how you knew he was done. Yeah, well, I was thinking I was going to get like a golden retriever or something when I was doing a rescue animal because you asked me what kind of animal I wanted, and that's what I said.
And at the end, that guy who's all depressed because his girlfriend or wife died. Oh, I guess this is my dog now. All right, thank you, AMC, for the movie pass. That monthly service thing is definitely going to come into play. It's what the A-listers, right?
Yes.
I think that movie pass is definitely going to make up for itself this upcoming month.
Yes, tons of great movies coming to theaters near us. John Wick 4, nonetheless, none of the least, which they've done like 0 advertising for. We got Creed 3 coming out, as Noah's going to in 2 nights. I am jealous about that. I will not be able to join that one. That one would be a great night to have some beers and go see that film. So many movies coming out.
I concur. Well, do you have anything else you want to say about Cocaine Bear?
No, it really was a good, lighthearted take on a very serious subject. Don't do drugs.
Right. Okay, well then, next week's Smarter Challenge. I'm just going to keep on the movie reviews. Next week is Creed 3. So we'll do a movie review of Creed 3. And I don't know what the Scotch is. I think there was a little bit of miscommunication from last week, but we'll have a good Scotch for Creed 3.
I think for Creed 3, perhaps it is time to put a new challenge out there, increase our Ardbeg lore, if you will.
Uh-oh.
Just break out the Ardbeg 19.
Are you sure?
I think so, man. Creed 3, this could be the Scotch for Creed 3, the Tribon. That's probably totally butchering the pronunciation.
Okay, I remember you saying last week something about like you wanted to do something big for the beginning of year 3. So,
well, I think this is the right one to do because our first episode
was
Ardbeg 10.
Okay.
And so we'll start our 3rd year with the Ardbeg and then go from there. This one should be an absolute delight.
All right. Well, then there we go. That's the one we're going to be doing. And if I remember correctly, is that the one that had like different flavors? You had to like look at the labels?
It does. It has different flavors. Unlike this current Lagavulin, they tell you batch numbers and all sorts of great information on there. Literally, when it was bottled, all sorts of things. It is undoubtedly going to be a treat, not for the faint of heart. It is 19 years old, and Ardbeg takes a lot of pride in it with its price, and I'll bet it's pretty dynamic. This one in particular is supposed to be flavored with hints of smoky pineapple, chili, chocolate, and aromatic wood smoke.
All right. Another Idla or Islay. Nailed it.
Yes, Ardbeg, as we mentioned, there's Lafroig just to the west of the Lagavulin distillery. Ardbeg just to the east. Well, this is just east of what we just had.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone who watches us. For all of you who watch us on YouTube, greatly appreciate that. For all of you who watch us on Rumble, we thank you for that as well. For all the podcasting platforms you listen to us, we thank you for that. We especially thank you for those 3 new subscribers on YouTube and all the listeners that we've had on the Audible side, because you guys have actually done a good job of keeping our numbers up. So we greatly appreciate that. And pass it on to you.
Remember, life is great. Drink responsibly. And as Noah said, we really do use the feedback, our point scale. Let us know what you think of it, what you like, what you don't like. And we will continue to use that feedback because we do appreciate it. We're here to put on a good show. All right. And with that, until next week.
Did you say drink responsibly already? Okay. I just want to make sure.
Drink extra responsibly.
Don't do cocaine. Don't do drugs.
Oh yeah, no shit, man. If you got any message from Cocaine Bear, it should be do not do drugs. All right, with that,
or it turns you into Superman. What is it?
Yeah, not Superman, Super Bear.
Super Bear. Okay, Super Bear.
And with that, remember the real bear died. All right, until next time. Scotchman.
Cheers. We hope you enjoyed this evening's episode of Scotch Hour. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you have not done so already, please become a Patron member, with memberships starting as low as $1 a month. Thank you, and hopefully you have a wonderful evening.